Hey, shalom, shalom, shalom. Before I get this, this is going to be, I want to do, this is going to be like a testimony or me standing in the person of being a witness, because this is what this is. I am, with this particular topic and this particular section of prophecy, I want to stand as a witness and bear witness to the elders and the apostles of the Great Millstone and the other men within Great Millstone who teach and rule well, who open up the prophecies, and then use secular news to also bear witness by putting them together, showing you that the men of GMS are the true prophets of Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai, Yahushai being the one whom the world both ignorantly and wickedly calls Jesus Christ, because that is not his name. His name is not Jesus. And the fruits, I know that there is a prophecy that says you will know that there is a prophet among you. Absolutely no one in Renaissance Western Christianity, no one in Catholicism, nobody even in Islam is able to interpret prophecy as the Hebrew Israelite elect men are, because it is they who are the prophets. So this is a playlist that I began. A brother from the Atlanta camp. I'm gonna choose not to say his name, not out of shame, just out of respect. I don't know if he would want me to say his name out loud, but he knows who he is. He asked me a question about 2 weeks ago. Can you break down? And he wasn't doing it in the spirit of trying to catch me off guard. He was asking me, hey, can you break down Joel chapter 2 verse 20? And I said, no, I can't. I can now. And as a result of him doing this, literally so much stuff. And the reason why he did this is because what's happening in this portion of the world with Iran. And Iran, come to find out, I believe that is they are the Ishmaelites. They're not Arabians. These are your ancient world Ishmaelites, okay? And there is a major prophecy speaking about them, and there's a lot of prophecy speaking about them in a lot of places. But I want to pull up. Hold on. The reason I had that up for a reason. I want to pull this up. Let me see. This brother out of UK, and then shortly after him, the elder from let me see. Was it this one?
East, what they did.
Yep.
They have no idea.
So
this is kind of the end result of America. When all of these wars and the chip has gone out there, and we get to the part where...
Hold on, I'm going to come right back.
These Edomites,
I don't want this to be too long. We'll come right back. Let me find where he says what he says. Okay, I found it. Check this out. Okay, I've been reading Second Ezra for a while. I have a lot of it, Second Ezra's understood, right? I did not have this understood, and this isn't. You guys got to hear this. We don't just give double honors, right, to the elders and apostles just as some random thing. It's real. Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai has really set these men up. There has to be an order of humanity, of men, that the Most High uses in the earth. And it's not just some random confused group of people saying one thing's a whole bunch of confusion. No, it's specific spirits that he has always planned with intricate precision. Everything in prophecy happens exactly the way that it is written, that he says it will happen. Listen to this man. This is a member of GMS in the UK, opening up 2nd Ezra chapter 15, verses 28 on down to 33. Listen to this.
Ezra 15 and 28. It says, behold, a horrible vision and the appearance thereof from the east, which are those Arab nations, all right? Where the nations of the dragons of Arabia, which are those Arab nations, shall come out with many chariots, with their armed forces. And the multitude of them shall be carried as the wind upon the earth, because they are... Something's going to be that catalyst that's going to draw them. They're going to realize that Iran was truly the victim of all of this, and so are they. They are victims, but those Arab countries are still in that Stockholm Syndrome phase. They're still in that Stockholm Syndrome phase. But the Lord is going to shake them out of it. He's going to drop a spirit on them to shake them out of it. Something's going to happen. I believe it's going to be the dome of the rock. It could be something else. Now, all they which hear them may fear and tremble. And that's when these Edomites are going to fear, because everything is, understand what these Edomites are doing. Understand why America has bases in these Arab countries. Because when the Iranians hit them, it causes these Arab countries to come out with statements to say, oh, they denounce what Iran is doing because they're attacking our country. When Iran ain't attacking their country, Iran is attacking those American bases that they have in their country.
Now, let me see. I think I have something on TikTok that just showed this.
I ain't got no mother.
Look at this, you guys. You cannot. There's no Christians that are doing this, man. There just isn't. Look at this.
Okay, here we go. As promised, what I wanted to bring you was
and we are in the, if you notice, look at the map behind him. It's the same area. It's the same area that you see that I made a playlist. It's the same body of water. All right, you got the Red Sea, right? You got Saudi Arabia where it's desert at, and you got the other body of water right there. It's the exact same
opportunity to visualize what most would call the theater of war. And that's what they refer to, what you see behind me. This is the theater of war. Let's put now the missiles in the cities so that people can see exactly what we're talking about. And you're going to see how this really has been turning into a conflagration of sorts, right? Suddenly it's escalating.
Stop. You see Saudi Arabia? This is Joel chapter 2. This is where Joel chapter 2 takes place. But right now, you see all those fucking American flags? That's Esau. That's the whore that sits on many waters. That's all the so-called white men's military bases, all up the ass of all these other people, all these other nations. And everyone thinks that this is okay. No, it's not fucking okay. And look what this prophecy says. What happened? Look, he's explaining.
That they have in their country under their protection. Announce what Iran is doing because they're attacking our country. When Iran ain't attacking their country, Iran is attacking those American bases that they have in their country.
It's like removing parasites from your from your bowels. It's like taking a foreign entity that's inside of you and surgically removing it out.
Something much bigger.
This is Esau, bro. Don't say America. Say the fucking white man, because that's who it is. Look, he's got all his fucking shit all penetrated into these other people's nations, bro.
Than what probably the Israelis and U.S. was thinking this was going to be, which was going to be essentially a battle between Iran, Israel, and the United States. No, it's turned into much more. In fact, let me just...
Why has it turned into much more? Because prophecy, who no one is able to explain except for the Hebrew Israelite men of GMS and those who follow them, are saying. And nobody's listening. And everything these guys are saying is literally coming to pass day by day by day in the secular news. It is mind-blowing. Look.
That they have in their country under their protection. All right? So the Israelis know that Iran's going to do that.
And the Christians don't even read the Apocrypha because they have been told the Apocrypha is not scripture. It's maddening, bro. Watch.
The idea for the Israelis is to cause to cause this, what they call, like a disfaction, so that they can cause a faction between Iran and Qatar and Saudi Arabia and Kuwait and Iraq and all these places. The way they're firing their missiles on these American bases is to cause Iran to have a fallout with their Arab countries. So you're hearing certain Arab ministers now speaking out saying, "Oh, Iran needs to stop firing stuff into their airspace." But Iran can't stop firing because they've got American bases there.
Listen to what he's saying, because there's another precept in this prophecy that once I got the understanding of it, I'm still getting the understanding. I was like, oh, bro, I just listen.
But that's the whole idea of the Israelis' plans, is to cause them to, because Israel wants those Arab countries at each other's throat so that they...
And the reason why the Arabs, who are the Ishmaelites, are divided among themselves when they're the same race of people, it really comes down to the fucking philosophies and the table of Esau. That Esau has done this to them through his rulership. But they're about to come together because they're going to remember themselves. That's key.
He can become, the hegemon in that region for America, Babylon the Great. If they're not united, all right, then Israel can rule over them with America's help. If they are united, then America and Israel will have no say against these countries. The Lord is going to unite those Arab nations because it's Bible prophecy. All right? It says, and the multitude of them shall be carried as a wind upon the earth. These are the Arab nations, that all they which hear them may fear and tremble. Because once they do unite, they are truly going to fear and tremble. Babylon the Great and Israel. Also the Carmanians, which are the Iranians, raging in wrath, shall go forth as the wild boars of the wood, and with great...
Have you ever seen a boar when it decides to attack your fucking ass? Have you ever seen a boar attack a dog? Have you ever seen a boar attack a fucking lion or a fucking tiger or another animal? Have you ever seen a pack of boars? Dude, once you've seen that and then you see this description and prophecy, that's telling you how the Middle East is going to be able to come at America, bro.
Power shall they come and join battle with them, and they shall waste a portion of the land of the Assyrians, which is America, Babylon.
That's a type and shadow of America. America is likened unto Egypt, Sodom and Gomorrah, Babylon, and Assyria. All the past bad rulerships. America is a big conglomeration of all of them.
The Great, and those military bases are American. That's American land. So that will be part of the.
What he just said is this. This is what he was saying.
Oh my gosh.
Slovakia. This is what he meant when he was saying that. This is considered.
Okay, here we go. As Buck has gotten involved.
Those flags over there in Saudi Arabia, those flags over there in Kuwait, that's also considered American land. So that's the Assyria that Yahweh, by Hashem Yahushai in prophecy, is also talking about. It's not just talking about the geographical location of the West. It's talking about the geographical location wherever the West has placed its flag. That's what this prophecy is saying.
And they're hitting Israel, and you can't see it down here, but just down here where my hand is would be Yemen, and they're involved and they're hitting Israel as well. So there's missiles going out and missiles coming in, obviously as well, from the United States and from Israel. So let me bring Stas in now. Stas.
Hold on.
That's American land. So that will be part of the land of Assyrian as well when they hit those bases. But that's what they're going to do. And then shall the dragons, right, of Arabia, the Arab nations, the GCC, have the upper hand. Remembering, this is what needs to happen. A jerk to remember their nature, who they are.
And that's the other part that I didn't know, bro. I understand us remembering ourselves, the Hebrew Israelites, because we went off, we committed transgressions against the Most High, so he allowed us to go into captivity, to go into slavery as a form of punishment. And during the process of slavery, that we would also discontinue from our heritage. What does that mean? Through a process of re-education, vigorous re-indoctrination, that Esau would re-indoctrinate us into calling us African Americans, forcing white Jesus onto us, telling us we're somebody else, forcing us to speak English, making it illegal for us to learn how to read and write, right? But at the same time, teaching us what he wanted us to know, completely arresting our development on purpose. Why? Because we are the Hebrew Israelites, and it was part of prophecy for us to be punished like that we would forget who we are. When you read the story of King Nebuchadnezzar, when he gets judged for 7 years, he loses his memory. He gets a type of supernatural Alzheimer's disease, or whatever that disease is when you forget your mind. When your mind goes out for 7 years. He hold on real quick. for 7 years, he was unable to think. He ate grass like an ox and was running around the wilderness like a fucking animal. And at the end of 7 years, the scriptures say in the book of Daniel, he looks up and he gets his reasoning back. All of his light returned to him. What is light? Wisdom. So we get a type in shadow, or we get a display of a very powerful king and a very powerful rulership that gets judged by having his mind taken from him. He has the mind of a man. Take the heart of a man and give him the heart of a beast. That's the word heart means lob, means mind. He gets his mind taken from him. He's not able to rule, and nobody on planet Earth takes his throne while he is in this 7-year judgment from the Most High. And what do the watchers say? What do the Alahayim, the angels, say? We are doing this so that the living may know that the Most High reigns in the kingdom of man, and it is he who sets up and puts down whomever he will to rule the world, even the basis of men. And that is talking about Esau. The basis of men is talking about the so-called white race. They are the only reason why they're in rulership is because the Most High gave them the ability to rule, to fulfill prophecy. The very same thing he said about us returning and remembering our thoughts, remembering ourselves, is what he's saying about the Arabs right now. The Arabs are the Ishmaelites, and they have been divided and made drunk on the wine of Esau through different philosophies that they've agreed to, and it's caused them to become tame. Well, they're about to fucking remember themselves. They're about to come back to their normal nature and say, fuck this, what are we doing? And they're about to fucking break it off in Esau's ass, bro.
Because they're still in that Stockholm syndrome at the moment. And if they shall turn themselves, conspiring together in great power to persecute them. And that's what they're coming to do.
And that's what we are now starting to happen. We're starting to witness.
Oh, the Antichrist.
And there's nobody explaining it the way that it is but the Hebrew Israelite man, bro.
Okay, here we go. 91 missiles. That's it. Once there's a use, those stats, you can use the radars, but well, first of all, as far as where they continue, they've actually used very few old ballistics and a few hypersonics and old drones, and they've had great effects. They're being used to trigger the air defense systems and to suck up ammunition.
I see.
Just as an example, the 2 batteries of THAADs that the U.S. Deployed to Israel, 191 missiles. That's it. Once there's a use, those THAADs, you can use the radars, but the launchers.
So you're saying Iran is kind of holding back its
Absolutely.
missile deployment at this point?
Iran is going for a long game. The U.S. is going, Trump's already said, 4 days. We'll be in and out 4 days. We'll get what we want. Iran's going, no, we're going to.
Have you guys ever watched a UFC fight and seen those UFC fights where there's a guy that's got like insane knockout power, or he's a striker, but if he doesn't knock the guy that he's fighting out, and the guy that he can fight is a good wrestler and a superior jiu-jitsu fighter, a lot of times the dude that knows the jiu-jitsu can take a couple hits and still fucking win the fight. He'll submit the dude that all he can do is just strike only. You got to look at it like this, man. America is a striker, bro. That's their missiles and their air, and that's a, bro. But the whole planet isn't submitted, or isn't vulnerable to that one style of fighting. America is used to just having, the fucking the rockets and the airplanes dropping bombs on you, dude. They don't have any ground game, bro. The Americans no longer have. They do not have any ground game, bro.
Fight this the long way.
Well, I just had a conversation a little while ago with the deputy foreign minister, and basically he said the same thing. He seemed to be implying they'll attack as long as they're being attacked.
Right.
Can they do it? Does Iran have that kind of?
Oh, Iran could go for months. At the rate that they're going, they're still manufacturing missiles and drones.
Listen to this shit, bro.
Don't forget that. They still have manufacturing facilities going. So the missiles or drones that they're firing right now, they're backfilling. U.S. doesn't have that kind of capacity for backfilling anti-aircraft missiles.
And what are they hitting? We've all seen the pictures by now.
Mm-hmm.
We'll show you some, and I've shown you some before bringing you on out here. What is it that the Iranians are hitting, and why are we seeing them hit occasional civilian targets as well?
Well, there's 2 things going on for the civilian targets before I go on to the military targets. One,
U.S. And defensive systems are taking out Iranian missiles over the cities. So what goes up comes down, and comes down usually in a fiery ball, destroying.
And that's the so-called white man's military system in another man's geographical landmass, bro. Now imagine if Iran had a fucking satellite system over here in Dallas, Texas, or in fucking New York, and they were shooting down shit, and it was killing white people. Exactly. Why the fuck does that? See how fucking weird it sounds? But this is what the white man has. This is what he's been able to do all over the fucking world, man. Oh, but it's okay. It's okay because he gets to do it right now. Fuck that, bro. Fuck that.
Whatever's underneath it. They had a shopping center was burning after an Iranian missile was taken out right over it and fell on top. Hotels. Second of all, there's hotels. The hotels, because the human intelligence the Iranians are running, has shown them that the U.S., when the U.S. said we remove troops, all they did was remove them off the bases and put them in these hotels.
Oh.
So these hotels are full.
And the U.S. removed the troops from these bases where you see all those American flags. No. But they've removed them because they felt vulnerable, or because they were actually under attack.
Because they felt vulnerable. They did this before the U.S. initiated a war with Iran.
Right.
They removed them. We've seen videos where American servicemen are taking videos from these hotel rooms, and they're seeing the bases getting hit.
Wow.
So on the bases, first of all, they're taking out the radar stations. That's the first thing. And we've seen a Garan, an old, not Garan.
Iran's fucking handing it to fucking to the white man right now, bro.
In the summer of 2009. What you're witnessing right now in the Middle East is the breakdown and fall of the U.S. empire, and the media is all lying about it. And I'm going to explain why very quickly. The U.S. empire is built on two things. Number one, the U.S. military power that it has, which is one of the best in the world.
The sword. The Esau was given the blessing of the sword. And he will live by the sword, and everything he will attain, he will get by the sword. And then he will eventually die by the sword. That is what the prophecy says about Esau, the so-called white man.
World, if not the best. And number two, it being the financial center of the world, with the dollar being the reserve currency.
How they got that was because of slavery. And then when they transitioned from slavery, they dropped an atomic bomb on Japan because they were given the sword first before everybody else, scared the fuck out of everybody on the planet, and they were able to force everyone to buy oil with the petrodollar, take the fucking petrodollar off the gold standard, and give people paper for fucking materials. It was brilliant what they did, but it was evil as fuck. And now that time's over.
Of the world. That means most transactions in the world have to be done in dollar, especially the petrol that is generated from the Middle East has to be traded in dollar. Now, why does that help America? Well, because that dollar, when a country sells equipment and receives dollars, it doesn't actually keep the dollars inside the country. It invests those dollars back into the U.S. financial system and buys U.S. debt, which makes it very easy for the U.S. to borrow cheaply, because all those dollars, trillions of dollars all around the world, are being...
This is why they were killing everybody that was trying to get off the dollar system and go back to the gold system. And they would get on TV and demonize a brown man, a brown ruler in another nation, and say he's evil, he's doing bad shit to his own people. Why the fuck do you guys care? Even if it was true, it wasn't true. But even if it was true, it's got nothing to do with you. We got to go over there and fucking kill him and take his shit. And America was in agreement with this shit the whole time. And now America's collapsing. White America is seeing their own people do the shit to them that they were doing to all the other black and brown people. And now it's an issue. Now white America wants change. No, you got to fucking bend over and take it now too, motherfucker.
Invested back in the financial center and the U.S. government in America. To protect the U.S. reserve currency, the U.S. has bases all around the world to ensure that...
And that proves what? Let's get the precept. That's the second video. You guys got to see this in the Bible. This proves who the white man is. Waters and seas are a description for nations and peoples and tongues. The whore that sits on many water, that sits on many waters. Waters, dun, dun, in Revelations. All right, and there came one of the seven angels, which had the seven vials, and talked with me, saying unto me, Come hither, and I will show unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth on many waters. What's a whore? It's a wicked religious system, because the bride, right? That's the correct right-handed elect of Israel, operating through Yahweh by Shem Yahushua, the blood of Yahushua, the truth. Okay, so let's get the waters that you saw. Let's get the descriptions. The Bible defines itself. KJV. The waters are peoples and tongues and nations. Okay, so look, watch. It's going to be in Revelations also. Look, and after this I beheld, this is Revelation 7:9, the Bible interprets itself. And after this, behold, and lo, a great multitude which no man could number, of all nations and kindreds and peoples and tongues, stood before the throne and before the Lamb, clothed with white robes, palms in their hands. Oh, that's talking about us. Hold on. Oh, man, let me see if I can find it. Slovakia. Okay. That's it. 17:5. You see it? 17:15, I mean. Oh, pull up. Okay. Let's get the KJV. Where are you at? KJV. All the way down here, huh? Damn, mouth wide open. Oh, there we go. And he said unto me, the waters which thou sawest, where the horse sits, are peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues. So right there, you get the definition for what waters are, right? We're described as well, because the human body is what, like 70%, 85% water? So then you get that description. Boom. Let's go back. Slovakia. We're going to go back. And he said
what you're witnessing of currency, the U.S. has bases all around the world to ensure.
Bases all around the world. That is the horse sitting. Sitting means to like have ruler, kind of like an authority position over them.
That everyone is trading in dollar, and because of that dollar reserve currency, it can.
They're also forcing or making everybody trade in dollars. That's another reason why we were so rich. That's why the so-called America had so much money.
Use that system to also sanction any country that disobeys America.
And that puts them in control.
Because it controls.
See, they were in control. That proves that it's not America, it's the so-called fucking white man.
The financial system. It can cut any country off, which is...
This is why all the heads of these nations, they have to do the fucking gay sex. They got to do the Freemasonic fucking satanic, fucking the Freemasonic handshake. They all wear suits and ties and got to have their beard shaved. They all have to take on the image of the so-called fucking white man. And they got to take on the satanic religion of the so-called fucking white man at the high tops, at the high rulerships. And they're all trying to break away from this shit, man.
A powerful thing. And that's why, one of the reasons why the U.S. is an empire. More than $1 trillion a year is generated just from the Gulf oil sales. And that sales are all being shut down right now by Iran, because no tanker can pass the Strait of Hormuz. Iran has shut it down, and people are saying, well, Iran doesn't have a navy anymore. You don't need a navy to shut down the Strait of Hormuz. It is only 35 kilometers wide. You just need a few drones and missiles and to hit some tankers to show that you mean business, which is exactly...
Look at this, watch. They're coming like boars. Look what it says, bro. Listen, let's get the prophecy in second. I didn't know this. I got the understanding of it now, and it keeps growing every day. Second Esdras. I just learned this last week, you guys. This particular prophecy. Second Esdras 15:28. Let's get it. And to see the brothers breaking this down and to be lining all this up with the news, my jaw is on the ground right now. Again, bro, just when you think you know enough, you don't think you know everything, but you think you know enough where you stop going through it's an emotional roller coaster of fear, excitement, wonder, awe, celebration, worship, because you're like, what the fuck? You're literally watching. This is live TV, bro. Second Ezra 15:28. Behold, a horrible vision, and the appearance thereof from the east. 29. Where the nations of the dragons. That word nations, you can break that down into tribes. Just like it talks about us as being many nations, we're 12 tribes. There's multiple sections within a house of the Ishmaelites. There was like 10 princes. where the nations of the dragons of Arabia shall come out with many chariots, and the multitude of them shall be carried as the wind upon earth, that all they which hear them shall fear and tremble. And that's what's starting to happen, bro. Also the Carmanians, raging in wrath, shall go forth as the wild boars of the wood. Let's get this. If the Most High is describing you as a wild boar coming at, dude, you don't want that. Wild boars. Let me see. Wild boars. Wild boar attacking. Fuck that hunting shit. Let me show some fucking white dude. Nigga, these motherfuckers, bro. You don't want this shit. You don't want this, bro. Let me see. Here.
Fuck!
Run.
That's not something you want to go through, bro. You don't want to go to this shit. And if you don't have, look at this. Wild boar attacking human. If you don't have a gun, you're fucked. See? He fucking missed. He missed, or it didn't fucking kill that motherfucker, was still coming for us. I had seen that one with fucking Esau, man. Stupid ass. See, if you don't hit that fucker, bro, see, it knocked his ass down. You see that shit? These motherfuckers are stupid, bro. They're just, I got a gun. I gotta kill everything. I can't wait till Esau is brought all the way down, bro. They're such a fucking weird group of people, dude. All they do, they just kill. They were given a gun, and all they do is they just kill everything, dude. Let me fast forward some of this shit. I don't want to watch a whole goddamn. Look at this nigga. Yeah, hold on. See, these dudes are doing this shit for the fucking rush of it. They know how you gotta have a big ass gun to drop that fucker, and you gotta be a good shot. If not, he's gonna fucking run your ass over. This dumbass fucking white man. I gotta see if I can do this just for my own ego. Look, his dog scared him out. He's shooting at him. Knocked his ass over. Dumbass. Idiot, bro. You don't fuck with that shit. Leave them goddamn things alone. So verse 30. Also the Carmanians, raging in wrath, shall go forth as the wild boars of the wood, and with great power shall they come and join battle with them, and shall waste a portion of the land of the Assyrians. That is what they're doing right now. That is what this means. They are taking out the military American bases and the other nations. No other race, no other fucking nation has ever been able to do something like that, bro. That's a big fucking deal, bro. You don't shoot anything of the so-called white man's military structure in any other person's nation and it be like normal, like they're trying to make it sound right now. Bro, the Most High just used Ishmael to fucking knock a bloody nose into the face of the so-called white man, bro, in front of the whole world. And then shall the dragons have the upper hand, remembering their nature. Because of this, it's gonna make all of the division take place between them. It's gonna dissolve all the division, and they're gonna remember. Look, we're Ishmael. We ain't got time to be fucking being drunk on Esau's philosophies. In the 21st, 22nd century, we are the ancient Ishmaelites. Let's let these motherfuckers know who we are. They're going to supernaturally, their minds are going to change back to how they used to be, bro. That's what this is fucking saying, bro. Same thing that's happening with the Hebrew Israelites. The so-called black men and Latino men and Native American men and the Hebrew Israelite men that look like the other nations who are realizing they're Hebrew Israelites. How are we acting? We don't act like black people. We don't act like Mexicans. We don't think and talk like them, bro. We talk about Esau and prophecy. Mexicans and black people who think they're Mexicans and black people, they love the fucking white man. They love America. They want to be best friends with them. And, oh, I just hope everything changes. And fuck that. We're like, nah, fuck these people. Bro, this is what this is saying in 31 is that the Ishmaelites are going to go back to really, really looking at themselves a different kind of way and looking at the West even more so than how they hate the West now. It's going to intensify from a spiritual, prophetic perspective. That is what's because the Most High, He declares unto man what is his thought. It's in Amos. He declares. He controls the minds, bro. And this is why I'm like, this is key. The ability to do this is why he can control who rules and who doesn't rule. Amos 4 and 13. For lo, he that formeth the mountains. What are the mountains? Those are rulerships. And createth the wind, that's the spirit, and declareth unto man. What is his thought? Mountains require intelligence. Mountains, rulerships, governments require minds. And if the Most High controls who rules, if he controls the mountains, that means he controls the minds. Yeah, bro, it's that powerful. And that's what's happening. That maketh the morning darkness and treadeth upon the high places of the earth. Yahweh, the God of hosts. Yahweh Tazabawathka. Yahweh Tazabawath is his name. And that is what we are seeing with all of this, you guys. Oh, it's mind-blowing. It's just amazing. Listen to this, and I'm gonna this guy.
When the United States finally decides to put boots on the ground, because we will, because no regime change ever has occurred with an aerial bombardment campaign alone, it is going to be horrific for the United States and the men and service women who are currently stationed there. And I want to try and paint you a picture because it's insane what we're about to send these men and women into. By the way, I think this is going to happen before September.
And this is prophecy because Esau is going to start dying off, and he's going to lose his rulership. You guys are witnessing the beginning of the fall, not of the America, and not quit fucking saying America. This is the fall of the so-called white man. This is the fall of so-called white man. This is the fall of so-called white man. It's the fall of so-called white man. That's what it is. America is the rulership of the so-called white man. Yes, there's brown and black people that live here. This is his country. Name one law a so-called black man has written that white people have to listen to. Name one prison that black people own that are filled with white people. Name one ICBM missile that is owned by one black man. Exactly. This is the fall of the so-called white man, bro.
Oh, here we go. We first have to account for the fact that there's no wide open front for the United States to exploit. Zero. Okay. There is the Iraq border to the west. There is the Gulf Coast to the south. And then there's Afghan and Pakistani borders that could also be exploited, I guess. But regardless, we are going to funnel men and women and heavy machinery into terrain that the Iranian government has spent 30 years planning for an invasion through. So it will be pre-sighted for artillery, it will be mined to shit with landmines, and also it will be scoped out by drones. Okay, before a single American boot touches the mountains, the spine of Iran, troops are going to pass open terrain under constant drone surveillance and harassment from an enemy that has manufactured tens of thousands of cheap drones just for this purpose. Okay, and these will be eyes in the sky that will follow them. They will swarm them, and they will drop munitions on them while they sleep. Now we have to talk about the drones completely. Okay, listen, in Iraq and Afghanistan, the United States owned the sky completely. Okay, but the drone advantage that used to belong to the United States, okay, is kind of an Achilles heel, because every tactical drone, every training exercise, every instinct that has been drilled into U.S. infantry and armor units for the last 25 years assumes air superiority as a given. Call for help, help comes from above, and that pattern holds. But this is different because the sky in Iran will be contested, okay? The U.S. military has no proven doctrine for operating under constant drone coverage at scale. So the basic daily experiences of a ground soldier change. right? You can't set up a forward operating base without it being spotted from above within hours. You can't move a supply convoy without it being tracked and hit. You can't medevac wounded without the helicopter being targeted. You can't sleep in a position for more than one night without a drone dropping a grenade on your tent. These are all things we've seen play out in real time in Ukraine. That's the biggest military advantage that Ukraine has given the United States, is just hundreds of thousands of hours of first-person accounts of what happens in drone warfare. And the answer is the troops get fucking slaughtered. Like, and also, mind you, okay, this is like worse than just reversing a drone advantage. That would be one thing. Okay, but the United States has spent 20 years building a military that depends on air dominance as a structural pillar. Okay, if you strip that away, you collapse the entire operational model of how the U.S. military operates now. Every logistics plan, every casualty protocol, every fire support doctrine now has to be improvised under combat. Awful. Let's also just talk about the mountains, okay? The Zagros Mountains in Iran stretch 1,500 kilometers across the western and southern borders. The peaks are 4,000 meters in the air, and the valleys are very narrow, and the roads are very few, and the terrain is suited for defensive warfare, which is exactly what Iran has optimized for. So Abrams tanks, Bradley fighting vehicles, heavy mechanized units that defined American ground dominance in Iraq and Kuwait, all of them now are liabilities. They're almost choke points in and of themselves at the moment that they get hit, and then they have to be defended. Okay, they cannot maneuver. They cannot be resupplied easily. They burn fuel at crazy rates. They are slow, loud, visible targets stuck on predictable roads. People have been talking about like, oh, Iran would be our Vietnam. I don't know about that. I think that in a way, this is shaping it more for like us to be the Soviet Union and this to be our Afghanistan. Okay. And here's the thing too, if you leave the armor behind and send light infantry into the mountains, you are asking American soldiers to fight on foot in terrain that the IRGC has been training for their whole life. Okay, they have pre-positioned supplies, they have pre-positioned positioned ammo, they have pre-positioned medical caches all throughout the mountain network. They fight light, they fight patiently, and they don't need the same resupply convoy sneaking up, exposed switchbacks that we would. And I just think it's insane. Like, because what we're talking about is a mountain war that is a series of ambushes. Because the United States can try, but I think they're going to fail to bring their technological advances to bear. Okay, and that is because close air support will be limited, satellite communications will be degraded by mountain cover, and heavy weapons cannot be positioned effectively. So it is rifle against.
You see that comment? Look at this comment. Our military. Look at Josh Kaludi. Our military has become heavily specialized in fighting insurgents and not a standing army, which Iran has. 518 likes. Specialized is a good word here for losing to every insurgency war in the last century. To be fair to him, specialized doesn't necessarily mean successful. I never said we were good at it. Look at this shit. So you got some people being honest about shit. I'd maybe say accustomed to, because specialized implies a level of expertise. This is also why the Canadian Army basically said their plan is the same thing, with the advantage of being able to infiltrate the U.S. homeland and cause massive infrastructure damage. Specialized just means that's what they have been specifically trained for. Anyways, I just wanted to
rifle in their mountains. There's also the urban nightmare we have to contend with, okay? Iran has many cities beyond Tehran with multiple, more than 1 million people living inside of it, okay? So Tehran has 9 million, so that's like New York City. There's also Isfahan, there's Mashhad, there's Tabriz, there's Shiraz, okay? These are dense, sprawling, modern urban centers, okay? So if a regime change requires taking Tehran, then American troops eventually have to fight through a city of 9 million people, which is not the same as Baghdad in 2003, okay, where a significant portion of the population did at least kind of like not resist the invasion in the same way that we expect Tehran to. But urban warfare in the other cities is the most casualty-intensive form of combat that exists. The United States' own military studies out of Fallujah and Mosul and Marawi show that attacking forces take catastrophic losses in dense urban terrain. In Tehran, the defenders have anti-tank missiles, they have drone support, they have pre-positioned explosives, they have tunnel networks, they have millions of civilians whose presence makes every tactical decision a potential atrocity and propaganda disaster. Not that the United States is necessarily like against that, but it's still not great for them. Okay, so the daily reality of Americans who are not in the mountains but are in the cities would be this. You advance block by block through a city where every building contains a sniper, where every intersection is a potential ambush, and every basement might be a tunnel entrance, and every dead civilian ends up on a billion phones within hours. You cannot tell comments from civilians. You cannot secure a building without clearing it room by room. So you take fire, you return fire, you kill people who may or may not have been armed, and the footage is uploaded before you have even finished an after-action report, okay? And we're not just talking about the IRGC. We're also talking about the bus siege, which is a paramilitary volunteer force that is estimated at least 1 million members in that country. Okay, and these are ordinary citizens who are young, who are motivated by religious conviction, and who have been organized and minimally trained for exactly this scenario. Okay, all they have to do to become a fucking meat grinder in and of themselves is just be willing to die, and they can spend our bullets. Like, also, we have to talk about the supply line problem. Okay, every army that has ever invaded a large hostile country has faced the same fundamental problem, which is that the further that you advance, the longer and more vulnerable your supply lines become. Therefore, American forces that are pushing into Iran's interior need fuel, ammunition, food, water, medical supplies, and replacement parts that are flowing continuously from ports and staging areas that are now hundreds of kilometers behind them. Those supply lines run through the same exposed desert and mountain passes that the initial invasion force will have struggled through. But Iran does not need to defeat the American frontline units to win. It just needs to cut the supply line units behind them. So what does that mean? Every fuel tanker is now a target, just like it always is. Every supply line convoy that's going to cross the open desert is a drone target. Every logistics hub is a missile target. And the IRGC, again, has trained for this for 30 years. Therefore, forward deployed American units will face the possibility of being cut off and unable to be resupplied in a hostile country where there are guns and knives pointing at them in all directions. And what's going to kill them is not that reality. It's the psychological reality, okay? Because when a soldier knows that a helicopter may not come for them if they get shot, that ammunition is now going to get rationed, that the road behind them gets cut off, unit cohesion starts to fracture. And American military culture, for all its strengths, has not experienced that feeling at scale since Vietnam. And an entire generation of officers and NCOs that has never operated in an environment where resupply was not guaranteed and air support period was not absolute, they will fucking eat each other.
Basically, the heart of the military of America over there is already melted before it even gets fucking started, bro.
Maybe literally, if it gets bad enough, okay? And then, of course, there is the casualty reality, which is that the Pentagon war games that estimates for a ground invasion of Iran, we would have to take a few tens of thousands of American dead in year one for us to have a shot of winning. Not wounded, by the way, dead. Dead. Tens of thousands. There are 5,000 American servicemen members who died in Iraq and Afghanistan. We're talking about tens of thousands, and that's over a 20-year war. This is tens of thousands in year one, and that's the Pentagon's own war games that say that. Okay? So we're talking about all of the worst possible political outcomes here in the United States all coming to vest at once, because there's no such thing as turning back the invasion force when you're at 10,000 dead. Right? You have to double down, triple down, quadruple down, especially coming up to the midterms. Oh my God. We are talking about a slaughter. We are talking about an absolute fucking death knell to the whole mythos of America having the biggest, baddest, most unstoppable military in the world. We're staring right down the barrel of it.
Let's get that precept and I'll be done. Second Esdras, their men shall be dead in the wars or something like that. Let me see. Second Esdras. Ouch, my leg, man. Second Esdras, their man shall be, I'm paraphrasing this one, in the wars. Look, Second Esdras 16, in the wars shall their bridegrooms be destroyed, and their husbands shall perish of famine. Let's get a little bit more on that. Let me see. Okay, the virgin, yep. Okay, the earth shall be laid waste, 32, and the fields thereof shall wax old. Why? And her ways and all her paths shall grow full of thorns, because no man shall travel therethrough. The virgins shall mourn, having no bridegrooms. The women shall mourn, having no husbands. Their daughters shall mourn, having no helpers. This is all during Jacob's trouble. That's what we're entering into. In the wars shall their bridegrooms be destroyed, and their husbands shall perish of famine. Hear now these things, and understand them, ye servants of the Lord. Behold, the word of the Lord, receive it. Receive it. Believe not the gods of whom the Lord spake. Behold, the plagues draw nigh, and are not slack. As when women with child in the 9th month bringeth forth her son, for 2 or 3 hours of her birth, great pains compass the womb, which pains when the child cometh forth, they slack not a moment. Even so shall not the plagues be slack to come upon the earth, and the world shall mourn, and sorrow shall come upon it on every side. O my people, hear my word, make you ready to the battle, and in those evils be even as pilgrims upon the earth. Why? Because you're not going to be in your home. It's going to get to the point where you're going to have to leave your own house and wander around in the fucking woods just to live. It's going to be that fucking bad. People don't understand, man. So with all that, I wanted to attempt to be a witness to what I'm seeing these brothers explaining in the prophecies, and that's what this whole playlist is. It's just men of GMS explaining scripture perfectly, lining it up with what's happening right now, and there is no other group of people doing it, not according to the Bible, man. And with all that, I want to say, I pray this lesson was edifying. I want to give all praise and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim Yahushai, Bahashim Rakakadash, and double honors to the elders and the apostles of the great millstone, whom I learned from. This is your brother Radah Shalom.